Hello and welcome. I originally recorded a 30-minute little episode of Civ 5. However, I realized that only the audio of the microphone was recording at the time, so we now have a mid-game, or an early game start. Here I have my capital, Venice. I've settled on the coastline, near some fish and some cows and some cotton. To the north, I have a warrior, whom I can move to explore more. To the west, or east, to the east, I think, I have a scout exploring near some deer through a jungle. And to the south, I have a scout that got turned into an archer as it stumbled across bows in a ruin, exploring near a mountain. I have decided to build a granary, and now I'm going to move my units, my Venetian units. Venice is an interesting one. I think I'll explore to the deer. As you can't settle cities with Venice, you are stuck in one place, unable to grow your empire naturally, which reflects the diplomatic expansions or trade expansions that Venice was famous for. Although, historically Venice also did conquer several cities, and the Venetian Empire contained a great deal. In the deserts here, I think I will move my warrior to this hill. And it looks, if we zoom in, that there's a civilization right next to that. Maybe next turn, we'll meet who that is. I'm going to move you along here. And you, well, let's see who it is. Ready?
Skanagahak. Ine ayawata ke handeze. Ne deyangwat de nunyani. Nero de nosuni.
He just said, "Peace be with you. I am Hiawatha, leader of the mighty Iroquois," which, if memory serves, they never actually called themselves the Iroquois, but oh well, it's a French name given to them. I think Hiawatha is Pathfinder, if memory serves. There isn't much we can do at the moment with them, but we can try and be friendly.
Oh.
I think they won't, but let's see.
Or we yoginaji ya.
They're not interested in a friendship at the moment, but perhaps in the future. The Iroquois were a group of 5 tribes near the Great Lakes of America. And this group, what's beyond this forest? Just some marshland. This group, after much fighting, came together and formed a federation of the 5 tribes. They were one of the larger Native American groups and expanded militarily throughout what is modern-day Canada, and I believe Chicago, as far as they went, before the Americans gained independence and began their brutal march to the other shore, the Great Pacific. And the Iroquois did not do too well once the Americans gained their sights on their lands. Up here, I think we'll go to this hill so we can see more. Ooh, another ruin. Well, that's exciting. I think next turn we'll be able to reach it. And then over here we have a city-state. City-states are like mini civilizations, and Venice actually plays a lot like a city-state, which is interesting. I wonder what bonus we'll get. I hope it's a good one. Oh no. It looks as though my archer is in a fight. I could try and run away, but barbarians are not known for their kind natures, so I will have to fight, sadly, which is a deep shame. I don't like violence much. Alrighty. Let's move our Venetian scout over to these ruins, and hopefully we'll get a good bonus. We've uncovered another wonder, and two, in fact. Two wonders, which we might be able to reach relatively quickly. Mount Fuji is there. Mount Fuji is a Japanese mountain. It's very religiously significant in Shintoism. I don't know why, though. Perhaps that shows my ignorance. And we have two ruins. One perhaps we will be able to reach. The other, I am not so sure. We shall see. Now, what's the unit that still needs moving? Our military unit could potentially reach here in about 8 turns. However, I think that's wasteful of their movements. We shall explore this northern coast a little bit more before we go making any rash decisions. The game is becoming more complex as more things are uncovered. Ooh. A promotion. How dignified. We'll go for accuracy here, and hopefully free ourselves of this violent offender. There we are. Here, we will run you far, far to the north. You, we will uncover the rest of this coastline, perhaps bringing you back to defend our great city of Venice. Venice was founded on marshes in the Adriatic Sea. Most of Venice, in fact, all of it now, is artificially maintained on, still to this day, mostly wooden pylons dug into the marshy earth, which is a fascinating method of construction. It looks as though we can adopt a social policy. Now, in the previous recording, possibly one you haven't seen because it didn't record, I adopted tradition. Now, I have to decide whether to adopt liberty as well, or just tradition. And this is a difficult choice for me. Very, very difficult. And I'm rather indecisive about it. But I suppose that's the nature of it, of life, of everything. Indecisiveness. Should we do liberty and citizenship? Or liberty and republic? It's hard to know. Or do we wish to develop an aristocracy? Venice was both a republic led by an aristocratic court of traders. So we could do both, and it would be accurate. Venice is a weird halfway house between liberty and tradition, and I think that would be most in keeping with the city-state, or what was once the city-state of Venice. Now, we have our scout here who's moving along, and everyone else has chosen a path. Ooh, someone has founded a pantheon. A pantheon is, in this game, the beginnings of religion, but in traditional religious practice just refers to many gods. The Greek pantheon, you might have heard, is Zeus and Ares and Athena and Artemis. The pantheon of Māori gods is Tāne Mahuta and Papatuanuku and Tāne Mahuta, and I think I forget the others, which is a deep shame. I should know them. I only vaguely remember the creation myth of the world from the Māori perspective. But then again, I barely remember the Greek one. But again, I do not live in Greece. So perhaps that's something we could do. Although...
The meek shall inherit the earth, but not its mineral rights.
Ah, the readings. We could do a reading of the creation myth from the Māori point of view. However, it is quite difficult, as there are multiple different versions of the story, and their English translations aren't 100% accurate. So there comes a difficulty in that, I suppose. But perhaps it is worth considering, merely for the sheer joy of learning. We're about to discover writing. Are you ready? I am.
He who destroys a good book kills reason itself.
Interesting quote. We could try and build the Great Library, which is a very valuable building, but I do worry we won't have the production to pull it off. That is concerning. However, if we manage to go liberty in our traditions soon, we will increase our production. So perhaps that is worth considering. We can always try, and if we fail, well, oh well, the world is not ended. Now, I believe we should research something. What should we research, though? Should it be animal husbandry? Masonry? Bronze working? Bronze working would be interesting. Perhaps we should research bronze working. Or perhaps we should research animal husbandry. It becomes difficult to figure these things out. Or maybe optics and sailing. Ever and always the painful choices in life. Sailing would be a good choice for us in the future. So perhaps we should consider it. But for now, I think we should pick animal husbandry to gain a better understanding of cows. To the north, we will see what lies beyond this isthmus, and we will carry our archer back up to our city. Venice was founded by refugees, fleeing in part because of the chaos caused by the collapse of the Western Roman Empire. And they were defended, or guaranteed in their defense, by the Eastern Roman Empire, commonly called the Byzantine Empire. If the Byzantines had have known what would happen to them, perhaps they would not have considered pursuing such a helpful position. But we cannot know what will happen to us. And we at Venice are a young city. A young city. Ooh, we've met the Vatican. How exciting. Where is the Vatican? The Vatican is here. We should pledge to protect the Vatican, of course. Venice was Catholic, and so we should defend the Vatican. Off to our next turn. Hopefully we will be able to build this in time, although perhaps we shan't. Life is such a struggle like that. We'll send our unit back. Hopefully, the wonder of the ancient ruins is still there. Let's see what gifts they bring us. The worst kind of gift. A barbarian encampment, we've discovered. Ah well, we don't always get what we want in life, and that's fine. Life's not always about getting what we want. Ooh, they've attacked my scout. How rude. How mean. I hope you're finding this peaceful and banal and boring. It's a good way to disappear into sleep, is to listen to something fading away into nothingness. Oh, barbarians come for poor old Venice. We shall fortify ourselves against the barbarian and hope they go away. Barbarian is an interesting concept. It stems from, I believe, again, the Greeks in language, although many societies and civilizations considered groups that were not part of their culture to be barbarians. Ironically, in this game, Alexander the Great is the leader of the Greeks. Yet, of course, Alexander the Great...
Thou shalt not muzzle the ox when he treadeth out the corn.
came from Macedonia, which is a contention among Greeks today. And Macedonia was considered half civilized and half barbarian by the Greeks. So in a way, they considered Alexander the Great originally not really a Greek, which is fascinating when you consider how much it matters to those people. Oh, we've uncovered a technology, animal husbandry, which is just wonderful. I think we should research iron working, or bronze working, even though it revealed iron, strange mix, and then sailing. So we'll do bronze working first. And I believe, if I'm right, I can open the technology tree, hold down shift, and then click sailing. And it will do sailing after it does bronze working, which is very exciting. Ooh. Poor Vatican City. Beset on all sides by barbarians. We can adopt a policy. Oh, thank the heavens from on high. Now, should we adopt republic or aristocracy? Let's think about this from a mathematical perspective. I know we can do this because Venice was both a republic and an aristocracy. So, republic grants 1 production in every city and 5% production in cities when constructing buildings. Now, I don't know if that counts for wonders. We'll find out. Aristocracy grants 15% when building wonders. Now, we are building a wonder, but we only produce 6 production, whatever that means. 10% of 6 is 0.6, plus 5% of 6, which is 0. What would that be? 0.3, roughly. So we'd end up with 0.9 production added, which the game will probably round up to 7, so we get 1. I think, therefore, it would be wiser to first become a republic, and then bolt on the aristocracy afterwards. I believe Venice was actually the other way around. It was an aristocracy that formed into a trading republic. But I could be wrong. Let's pick republic anyway. And see if we get that exciting bonus. No, we don't get the 5%. Rather disappointing. But at least we get our bonus production. Now, let's go to the next. Venice itself was a trading republic, so what that means is the wealthy and the powerful traders sat upon a council that determined how the republic would be run. And families would compete for the lead title within the Venetian Republic, called the Doge. I don't know if that's how they pronounce it specifically, but it's how it's spelt. And then there was a council of 10, who were 10 powerful people. The Doge was one of them. Think of it like a cabinet in a regular Westminster system democracy. And then there was also an assembly which voted. I don't know how many people were in the Venetian assembly, and I'm assuming it changed over time. As the game mentions in its encyclopedia article, the last Doge of Venice was in the 1800s, after Napoleon conquered Venice, and then subsequently gave it to Austria. Venice itself had declined quite markedly at that point and was essentially a fairground of the wealthy aristocracy of Europe. Ooh, we've uncovered an ancient ruin. How exciting. If you go to Venice today, they will sell masks on the street side. It's more of a tourist thing now, but I suppose that's in keeping with the tradition. It's celebrating the Great Venetian Carnival, which would happen, I believe, once every year. And the point of wearing the masks is so that no one knows who you are. And that's very important if you're a wealthy member of the European aristocracy, possibly going to Venice for less than wholesome purposes. Let's see what we get from the ruin. not having good luck on this round of the ruins. But that's alright. You don't need perfect luck, ever and always. It wouldn't be fair to anyway. Now, Venice, for a while, from roughly, I believe, the 10th century to the 16th century, was a power in the Mediterranean. Both as a trading nation, or as a trading republic, allied with many different city-states that allowed its merchants to dock, and as a naval force. The Wikipedia here, or Civipedia, briefly makes mention of this large armada system. I believe it was the armada system, I forget the specific name, but essentially it was one of the first large-scale factory line shipbuilding industries in Europe. And they built a kind of ship called a galley. A galley is a sailing ship that's primary means of movement is oars, called galleymen. Oh, sorry, oars that are pulled by people called galleymen. Ooh, that's exciting, but it is dangerous, so I'm going to have to rest here and hope that the scout makes it through. Actually, I'll pull back for now to relative safety, heal here, and hope that I do not get disturbed. The archer is fully healed now, so perhaps I will take it across there while this warrior comes back to heal. Now, galleys were a really, really effective kind of ship to be used in the Mediterranean Sea. However, they became less and less useful over time as what we might call regular or normal sailing ships were introduced by both the Portuguese and the Spanish into the Mediterranean fleet and battle space. These ships, while not necessarily better in Mediterranean combat initially, did prove to be far more capable at shipping goods longer distances, which for the Venetians was a problem. Moreover, listen.
Here Hector entered, with a spear 11 cubits long in his hand. The bronze point gleamed in front of him, and was fastened to the shaft of the spear by a ring of gold.
It's fascinating that it mentioned cubits. To my knowledge, a cubit is the different distance between your fingers and your elbow, or the average distance of an average man. It's a non-metric unit, an old one. If you ever hear cubit, think about a third of a meter. Because of the galley, but also in part because... Oh, I think I'm going to have to heal here. Sorry, my friend. Such a waste of an upgrade. Because of the Ottoman Empire gaining control over Eastern Mediterranean trade routes and strangling it, the Venetians lost a lot of their edge or value as a trade partner to Europe, particularly for valuable commodity goods. Things like spices and silks, which were often a common good brought to Europe, alongside others. But also because the Portuguese in particular had uncovered a route that did not require passing through Egypt or across the large land borders of Asia to ship in these valuable commodity goods, so that the Portuguese could trade directly with both the Chinese, the Indians, and today we call them Indonesians, although at the time they wouldn't have considered themselves that. But I'll simplify and say peoples from the Spice Islands. And because they could ship this without any tariffs or barriers, they could outcompete the Venetians markedly, and also the Ottomans. The discovery or use of these trade routes quickly changed the balance of power in Europe, and more importantly, the balance of finances. It looks as though we won't be able to produce the Great Library. That's a deep shame. But such is life. Hopefully we can, but we probably will get outcompeted. So much of our world. Oh, a soldier in the north was lost, if you remember. Right next to the ancient ruins that I was pursuing so fervently. He will be missed. I'm sorry. Terribly grim way to end this all, but I figure it's wise to wrap up for now. All we have done is traipse about the map and meet interesting people, like Valletta here. I don't know much about the history of Valletta. I don't even know where it is, actually. Judging by its name, I would guess Western Mediterranean, possibly Southern, so Spanish? Perhaps it's in reference to the Moluccas? Who knows? I will leave us here, with a city slightly bigger, slightly better defended, and discoveries to the north and the south. Perhaps you feel more restful. Perhaps you feel better at peace. Perhaps you clicked off this when it was too boring, but if you didn't, if you listened, I'm very grateful. Thank you for your time, and I wish you the most pleasant of dreams.